Whoops. Okay, just a second. All right, so what happens, I'm going to cover this for just a second. What happens now if we're given the slope and we're given one full point, but part of the second point is missing and we don't have a graph of it? Well, we could use the slope formula, but instead of m, we could fill in. So right there, I could say m is negative 3 over 2. And now we could use y2. Well, here's the y. In case you want to know, well, I think I covered that once before, so sorry about this. We're going to say that this is x1, y1, x2, y2, just because of the order left to right that they're in. So negative 9 subtract negative 3 over x subtract x1 is negative 7. When you simplify that, you have negative 3 halves. Well, subtract a negative becomes add, subtract a negative. Well, negative 9 plus 3 is negative 6. Well, that still is going to say x plus 7. But now we have one fraction over one fraction, so we can flip both sides. So now we have x plus 7 over negative 6. We're going to multiply. How do you cancel a dividing negative 6? Multiply. Well, negative 6 times negative 2 is 12. 12 divide 3 is 4. And because the negative 6 is canceled, that leaves x plus 7. Well, what's the inverse of adding 7? Subtract 7. 4 subtract 7 is negative 3. So negative 3 is equal to x. Well, let's see if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you graphically. If you had a hard time following this, here is another way to do it. This says that one of our points is negative 7 down 3. So right there. We're not sure where that x is because let's pretend we didn't find that it's negative 3. But this slope says that we go down 3 over 2. So if I go down 1, 2, 3 over 2, well, over 2 is negative 5. So this point right here is negative 5, negative 6. Well, we're not there yet because it says the y value is negative 9. So we go down 3 over 2 again. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3 over 2. Well, over 2 from negative, oh, look at negative 3. So that point right there is negative 3, negative 9. So you could do it graphically or you could do it with the formula. But let me show you something else very quickly because sometimes they just want to know if you're awake and are thinking about stuff. So let me show you something kind of cool. So what happens if a slope is undefined? Remember what we had when we had a vertical line? The slope is so steep, it's undefined. Well, if we have, let's say that right there, there's our negative 3x. Well, if there's a point here and a point here, both of the x's are negative 3. So when you have a problem where it says the slope is undefined, that means the x values are the same. So that x will also equal negative 2. And if we ever have a slope that says 0, remember what we had when we had 0 slope? Whatever the height was, that y value and that y value is the same because we didn't go up or down, we just went over to the right. So this y value and this y value will be the same. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Sketch the graph of each line, and all they give us is the x-intercept and the y-intercept. The x-intercept is where it will touch the x-axis. So this says it's going to touch the x-axis at -3. And this tells us it's going to touch the y-intercept at 1. And what do you notice? So this point right here is -3, 0. And this point right here is 0, 1. What do you notice about the intercepts? When we're trying to find the x-intercept, look at what happens. The y value is 0. And when we find the y-intercept, the x value is 0. I think that's what I have right there. To find the x-intercept, set the y equal to 0, and it will give you the x. To find the y-intercept, set the x value equal to 0, and that will tell you the y. And right here, when we have to sketch the graph of each line, remember what we said earlier? Y equals mx plus b. That b is what touches the y-axis. So right here, -4 is where it touches the y-axis. And then whatever's touching the letter x is the slope. So in this case, we have to go up 8. So if we're down at -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that makes sense. We're at 0, and then up 4 over 5. And then you just draw a line between those two things. And I think, yeah, I'm going to end that one right there.